Hi, super readers! I was thinking about letters last night. Not these kind of letters, but the kind of letters that you get in the mail that you get to read. Kind of like cards that say happy birthday, or letters that you send to someone who got you something thoughtful to say thank you. It makes me really happy when I read those letters. And I was thinking there's someone that's been helping us out a lot with our phonics learning that maybe we could write a thank you letter to. Do you know who I'm talking about? I'm talking about Mabel. I was thinking that today we could use our special word power to be able to write a letter to Mabel. When you write a letter to someone, you have to think, I'm probably not going to be there to read it to them. So Mabel's going to have to be able to read this without our help, all on her own. Today I want to teach you a tip to make your writing extra easy for readers to read. When you're going to write a word, you need to listen to and write all of the sounds, not just the first sound and the last sound. You really have to listen closely to hear and write every sound in the word. Let's try it by writing a thank you letter to Mabel. Come on. I know what you're thinking. Is it time for fast phonics? No, this is just the only area big enough to make our big letter to Mabel. Now, we're being extra super secret about this so that Mabel is surprised when she gets the letter. Now let's think. What's the first thing that we need to say when we're writing a letter? Dear Mabel. Every time I get a letter, it starts with dear and then my name. So let's write Dear Mabel. First, we need to start with the word dear. Let's listen for the sounds in dear. Dear. I heard the d first. Do we know what letter makes the d sound? I see a picture of a dog. That's a D. Let's start with our uppercase D. Okay, we have our d for dear. Now we can move on and write Mabel. Wait a minute. We didn't write the whole word dear. We just wrote d. How will Mabel know if that's supposed to be deer or dog or donut? It just says d. That will not be easy for Mabel to read. We need to make that word say deer. Let's listen for the next sound. D, E, E. That sound said its own name. E. We have D, E. Let's listen for the next sound. D, E, R, 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 R. Like rabbit. That's the letter R. Deer. Now we need to write Mabel's name. And I know how to write Mabel's name because we've been doing it all year long. Names always start with an uppercase letter, so let's make our uppercase M for Mabel. M, A, B, O. Okay, we've started off our letter right. Dear Mabel. Now, we want to say thank you to Mabel, so we need to write the words thank you. I will start. Okay, so far we have Dear Mabel, thank you. But what are we going to thank Mabel for? What has Mabel taught us? Why don't we tell Mabel that we like to learn? That has some of our sight words, we, like, and to. So we already know how to spell those ones. We can start with the word we. We, finger space, and we know that like is a sight word. I, to. Okay, the next word is learn, and learn is not a sight word. Remember, there are two kinds of words. There are sight words that we know in a snap, like we, like, and to, and then there are some words that aren't sight words, that we have to say out loud slowly to hear all of the sounds. Let's do that with the word learn. L. It starts with a L. That's the letter L. L, R, L, R, R, R. That's the letter R. Learn. N is the next sound like nose. That's an N. Learn. Remember that if you're not sure which letter makes the sound that you said, you can look at your alphabet chart. I heard the N sound, and I knew that was N, like nose. But if you're not sure, you can look at the alphabet chart and think, which picture says N? I know, the nest says N. That's the letter N. We like to learn. What goes at the end of a sentence? A period. At the end of this sentence, we put an exclamation point because we were very excited. Dear Mabel, thank you. We like to learn. What's the next thing that we should say to Mabel in our letter? I know, let's tell Mabel what we like so much about what she teaches us. I think that we have fun with letters. Let's write, we have fun, so that Mabel knows that we really like working with her and working with letters. First, we're gonna start with the word we, just like this we. We, that's a sight word, so I know that one in a snap. We, space, have, have. That's an H. That's an A. We have V. Finger space. Now the word fun. We have fun. Fun. I hear an F at the beginning. What's the next sound in fun? Like umbrella. That's a U. N. We have fun. That's the end of our sentence, so we can add a mark like a period. Let's add one more sentence to Mabel. Why don't we say, see you later, because we know we're gonna see Mabel again, maybe even after we give her the letter. So we need to start with the word see. Is see a sight word? It is. I remember see is S-E-E. S-E-E. Now the word you. I already wrote the word you up here, so I remember how to spell it. Space, Y-O-U. Okay, now we need to sound out a word, later. Later is not a sight word, so we need to say it slowly. Let's start at the beginning of later. L, I hear L, that's an L. L, A, L, A. That letter is saying its own name, A. Late, that's a T. Late, that's an R. And that's the end of our sentence. See you later. Now, one thing that I always know goes at the end of a letter is who it's from. This letter is from the kindergartners, so I'm gonna write from kindergarten. From Kindergarten is a very long word, but I write it so much that I know how to spell it. The more we read and write words, the better we know how to use them. Now, before we send this letter that we wrote to Mabel to her, I want to see how many sight words we used in it. Let's see. Dear is not a sight word. We stretched it out. Dear. Mabel is not a sight word. It's a name. Thank you are not sight words, but I write it so much that I knew how to spell thank you. We is a sight word. W-E, we. Like is a sight word. L-I-K-E. To is a sight word. T-O. And then this word, learn, is not a sight word. We stretched it out to hear the sounds. Learn. We is another sight word. Have is not a sight word. We stretched it out. Have. We wrote all of the sounds that we heard. Fun is not a sight word. We stretched it out. Fun. And wrote the sounds we heard. See. See is a sight word. S-E-E. See. You. You is not a sight word, but I've used it a lot, so I know how to spell you. Y-O-U. Later. Later is not a sight word. We stretched it out. Late. We heard all the sounds and wrote them. And then at the very end, we signed it from kindergarten. I think Mabel is really going to love this letter. It's time for Fast Phonics. Let's start off Fast Phonics by reading our vowel names and sounds, and then reading and spelling our sight words. A, apple. E, egg. I, igloo. O, octopus. U, umbrella. Now let's read our sight words, those words that we know how to use, how to read and write in a snap. I, it's just spelled with an I. Can, C-A-N, can. The, T-H-E, the. See, S-E-E, see. We, W-E, we. Me, M-E, me. A, we know it's just spelled with an A. Like, L-I-K-E, like. To, T-O, to. Now let's look at our letter and word that we're going to keep studying this week. Our letter today is N. This is the nest card. The letter N stands for the sound N that we hear at the beginning of the word nest. What is the name? N. What is the sound? N. Now I will write an uppercase and lowercase n because N stands for the sound N. Uppercase M uses only straight lines. It's tall. We go down and then back up to the top, slant down and straight up. Lowercase n is small and it does use curved lines. We go down and then little bump. Let's write our uppercase N by starting at the top, going down and then slant down, straight up. Now let's write our lowercase n by starting in the middle because it's small. We go down and then little bump. Uppercase N, lowercase n. Now let's try blending some words that have the N sound like we hear at the beginning of nest in them. This is the letter N. It says N like nest. This is the letter A. It says A like apple. This is the letter P. It says P like piano. Let's say the sounds. N, A, P. Now let's blend them together slowly. Nap. Now let's read the word. Nap. This is the word nap. This is the letter P. It says P like piano. This is the letter A. It says A like apple. And this is the letter N. It says N like nest. Let's say the sounds. P, A, N. Now let's say them together slowly. Pan. Now let's read the word. Pan. This is the word pan. This is the letter T. It says T like turtle. This is the letter A. It says A like apple. And this is the letter N. It says N like nest. Let's read the sounds. T, A, N. Now let's put it together slowly. Tan. Now let's read the word. Tan. This is the word tan. This is the letter T. It says T like turtle. This is the letter I. It says I like insect. This is the letter N. It says N like nest. Let's read the sounds. T, I, N. Now we can put them together slowly to hear the word. Tin. Now let's read the word. Tin. This is the word tin. Our word today is still and. Let's read it, spell it, and write it. This is the word and. Read it with me. And. Let's spell it. A-N-D, and. Spell it with me one more time. A-N-D, and. Now let's write the word and. Starting with that small A. Since it's small, we're going to start below the dotted line. A goes around and down. N goes down, little bump. And D is tall. It goes around and then all the way up because it's tall, and then back down. And remember that and is the word we use when we're talking about more than one thing. We're going to read another story today that has our word and in it. This story is called Tim and Nan. They're talking about more than one person, so they use the word and. Tim and Nan hear the hen. The hen is saying cluck, cluck. Tim and Nan hear the tractor. Tim and Nan see the corn. Tim and Nan see the barn. Tim and Nan hear the pig. Today we learned a tip to make our writing extra easy for readers to read. We learned that we write all of the sounds that we hear in a word, not just the first and last sound. We say the word slowly and listen for all of the sounds. Then we write them. If we're not sure which letter makes that sound, we can use our alphabet chart.